First things first, let's talk about facts and works. Your boy smash no works. Talk about guns, we ain't on that work. Never. And to make shit worse, I got all 5, that's real blood first. He got zinged and he got burst. Next outcome getting put in.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? Your boy Hugo the Savage back again for another Hangover show. Extra, man. Here with the boy Cav. You already know, bro. Hawkeye and that, bro. You just know what it is, man. What's going on, man?
Nah, it's not Hawkeye. So let's cut that right now. Yeah, I was about to compliment you with that intro, but fuck it now. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing niceties today,
bro,
clearly.
Let's just put that thing to bed, man. I don't know why man are taking Hawkeye as a diss, bro. He's a G, man.
Yeah, but out of the options, I mean, let's face it. There's the whole Avengers, right? And there's 3 of us. Why do I end up with Hawkeye? There's better men than that. Come on.
Tony's dead. You want to be the dead guy?
Yeah, but the legacy that he left behind, I'm taking that.
Fuck his legacy, bro. If Hawkeye can still run around being an Avenger, bro. I'll tell you can be Ant-Man.
Nah, I've already said who needs to be Ant-Man. I put that suggestion in there already, so.
All right.
Ant-Man's cold though, still.
Ant-Man's cold still, bro. And you know what I mean? You got the Paul Rudd humor about you still. That's a compliment.
Yeah, that's a compliment.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro.
I'll take that.
I think I'll take one in the chat, man. Hope everyone's well, man. Everyone take care of themselves. But that, yeah, there. You seen the title of the video. You saw the thumbnail, man. Listen, Salah's been the talking point. Been the talk of the town for about a week now with these Saudi bids and stuff like that. And yeah, man, it keeps propping up every now and again. And then last night, Cav was putting the message like, listen, man, what's going on here, bro, with this, man? I mean, it was like, yeah, bro, money, 220, 200 and that. What's it going to take, bro? Yeah, I mean, and I thought we'd just chop it up and have a discussion about it. It's very interesting, the take that everyone has on it. And I'm excited to hear what Cav's got to say about it. And I'm excited to hear what the rest of the chat's got to say about it because it's closing in. You can't tell what's going to happen, but what time? When does their window close? The 7th, I think. Which is
Thursday.
2 days away. It's like this ticking time bomb in it, man. But hey, man, let's chop it up, man. Life after Mo, bro. Salah or keep. Let's talk about it, bro. What you saying, Cal?
Well, what I would say is there's been a lot of opinions on this, and I think it's a topic where a lot of opinions could be validated. I think people that want to sell him and the reasons they're given, you could go, okay, yeah, fair. And the people that want to keep him, you're like, okay, yeah, fair. So I don't think there's any wild takes. I've certainly not heard any wild takes on this. Life after Salah. Well, first and foremost, I look at it as where we currently sit as a club, right? So we are a self-sufficient run club. We know that.
Yep.
Call us buy to sell. I don't think that's entirely true. We're just smart with money and we're sensible. Yep. And 220 is an incredible amount of money that you could put back into the squad and make some, it'd allow you to go and get some top targets off your scouting list and improve the squad overall. And that money last year, a few years ago, would have been a no-brainer to take because we were in a position where we seemingly needed that surplus of cash to go and spend. But I look at where we are today and the training ground is somewhat complete. That stand will be done once they get a new contractor on board in a matter of sort of weeks, I would say, maybe months. The training ground's complete. Sponsorship deals are set and producing great revenue. What I'm trying to get to is all the off-field stuff is complete, if not set, to be successful. We've seen in April the sort of finances come out and there was a slight profit there, but it proved that the club is running quite well financially. Yeah. And so I've thought that we would then be in a position that any money that's sort of generated, any profits that are generated, any sort of income into the club would then be put back into the playing squad moving forward.
Yeah.
So then now I kind of think, whilst 200 million, 220 million, whatever the exact figure is a great amount of money to reinvest. Is it necessary? Because if that came during a period where the stand was still being done, whilst we're not quite making the sponsorship deals and this and that, I would say, yeah, it's needed because that's instantly 220 into your transfer budget.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure it is needed now because as we've shown in this summer and last summer, we are willing to spend if the right player comes along. So the money for me, while it sounds like a crazy thing to say, I don't think it's necessarily needed, for us to progress as a squad and as a club. So whilst it would be a huge benefit, because if you've got, say your scouting list is tiered, you can go for your tier 1 players.
Yeah.
I think we could probably go for them in the future anyway, so long as we get Champions League football.
I agree.
So you see the 220, you go, that's massive. You can't turn that down. But it's what 220 means to us. And I don't think it means to us as much now as it perhaps did last season and the seasons before. So for that reason, I would keep him and I would turn down that money because you can't sign anybody else now. Anybody that you want, that you're going to sign in the future, you'd want to be a Salah-like player and give you the output that Salah gives you. Plus, we need Champions League football, and Salah's a huge factor in getting that. So I just don't see as needing that money, if I'm being honest. I think we can afford to turn it down because where we left is in a quite, financially stable position.
Okay, what about the opinion that once this season finishes, he'll be in the last year of his contract that he signed previously, the 350 contract? My opinion on this is kind of skewed a little bit because there's part of me that thinks I saw what his agent said the first time they spoke about it, which was probably about 3 weeks ago. He seemed to shut it down at the time, but then I'm thinking, have they shut it down really? Like, is the club still preparing these kind of bids because you've left it open? And leaving it open doesn't mean that means you're going to go. It means that you just not told them definitely that, you know what I mean? I'm not interested at all, because usually if you tell somebody that, they don't bother you again. So that interests me a lot. And I'm thinking about the last year of his contract. The thing is, you know how I am, I don't like to really think on the business aspect too much because it can get a bit silly because there's certain things I'm just not privy to. So when I'm joking around in the WhatsApp group and I'm online and stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, just sell him, just sell him, whatever. My part of selling Salah was always about, and I spoke about this before the bid came in, I was talking about the way he plays football and moving on from him in the future more than the money. The money wasn't a thing to me because we've just brought 4 players and none of them have anything to do with Salah at all. Like, it's not based on selling Salah. Obviously, we sold Henderson and Fab, which helped us out in them bids as well, which is almost perfect. So what you just said about we could turn it down, I agree on this basis right now. I'm not sure about next season though, but that's not based on me particularly wanting the money, because we don't know if FSG is going to put all the money back on players straight away, and nor do they have to. But the fan base is going to expect, if you sell 220, sell Salah for 220, 220 goes on players straight away, which we know that's likely not to happen. Obviously, previously we spent big because of Salah and Coutinho, but the rest of the players really haven't cost us that much money. You know what I mean? This team's like Villa, and I spent more money on players than we have. So,
Coutinho money, right? The question too: are we in the same kind of position? Because when we sold Coutinho, we went out and we signed Virgil and Alisson, which were needed. If you sell Salah now, what's needed? I'll tell you what's needed: Salah or a Salah replacement. So, it's not as if it's, yes, okay, we need to probably get a centre back in. We probably need to look at a left back in the future. Maybe a 6 still, but those positions aren't as needed as Alisson and Virgil was at the time.
I agree.
So you're selling a key player back then, but improving other areas of the team, which helped us overall in our success. But if you're letting go of a star player now, where are you improving? I don't see the need to sell him to be able to make them improvements. Certainly not at this point, because we can't sign anyone until next.
Yeah, we just end up holding anyway. We'd end up holding on to the money, bro. Personally, I've always, not always, but from what the dealings were a couple of weeks ago, just felt to me that the signings have been perfect, and they'll probably go and sign Andre in January because their league's over. Fluminense is done, which is perfect. and then you just move on with the season, and then next season you probably sign another centre back or something. Not just based on the fact of like somebody to take over Virgil in the future, but obviously we keep seeing that Konate is starting to pick up more and more knocks. The thing is, I'm actually thinking the same as you. It's just, do you believe that? Because obviously the money is the main thing we're talking about, but obviously I said life after Salah for a reason, because either way, he's going to leave in the future, I believe. I don't think he's going to retire at Liverpool, and nor should he have to. Like, of course you would like it, but let's be honest. I think I said this before. Carragher, I think he's the only one. Like in our lifetime as big players, can you name me another one? Gerrard didn't finish at Liverpool. He left. He went to LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
So it's not that big thing where everyone's like, oh, you have to finish that. And people don't normally do that, man. So he might still want to do stuff with his career and try new things, which I think he will, because he would have won all the trophies at Liverpool. Probably now he's in Europa League, probably wants to win it as well. Add to that, get the Ballon d'Or, because he ain't going to get that in Saudi Arabia at all. And he's already broke Gerrard's record. The next one's kind of far away. So,
yeah.
But life after Salah. Okay, I pose a question to it. Because I've seen it in the midfield lately, and that's why everyone seemed to be a bit pissed off, bro. But the right wing, do you think that we'll be in danger of? Say we're in danger. Klopp might think a little bit different, to be honest, but we'll be in danger of every time we talk about whether Salah moves on now or after. All we keep saying is who can put up the same numbers as Salah, who can do what Salah does. But is that the right way to think about it? Because Salah wasn't supposed to do what Salah does. And he wasn't the player he is now when we got him. He was a really good winger. Also, I would argue that for quite a few seasons, Mane was only like a few goals behind him. It's not like Salah ran away with it and he's the star man and hit Firmino and Bobby and Mane's not doing anything. A couple of times Mane finished on the same amount of goals as him. A few times he finished behind but then got more assists. So I'm thinking if you keep trying to look at Salah in the same mold as Salah constantly, then people can't really complain that Liverpool play the same football, because we'll never move on from that. And there's less and less good right wingers in the world. There's loads of left wingers because everyone plays inverted on their opposite foot. All the best wingers in the world are left footed, or they're on the left wing. If you played with everyone on their right foot, the right wingers would be the best. So that's the question to you, bro. I think we're stuck in our ways a little bit. That's why everyone was mad about we need a Fab replacement. I'm like, do we? Because Fab was perfect for a certain time. Them years have gone now. Football's changing. And if we look at the best team in the league, at least, Man City, they haven't done that. They didn't replace Aguero and get us an Aguero-type player. Alvarez is more Aguero-type than Haaland is. Haaland's nothing like Aguero, bro. You know what I mean? And Rodri plays different to Fernandinho, even though people see it as, he tackles and no, he plays different. Foden plays a lot like David Silva, I'll give it that. But Grealish doesn't play like Sterling. So that's the question to you, bro. What are you thinking?
It's a hard one, because we've quite often spoken about this Liverpool team and off the back of like performances where we've not quite been happy with Salah. You know, he's got in with a goal or an assist or had one or two moments of brilliance, but his overall game we feel weren't good enough. Not through what he's done on the ball, just the fact that he just wasn't involved enough. You know, just out on the right and just not influencing the game as much as we would have liked. And so always kind of looked at it as, if he wasn't in the team and you had another right winger in there, say, as an example, you put Diaz out over on the right, could you have somebody who maybe doesn't throw up the numbers that Salah does, but across the 90 minutes is more involved? It's a bit more fluid, probably offers you a bit more variety on that right wing, as in will take on his man, which Salah really struggles to do now, to be honest with you. Takes on his man, cutting both inside and hitting the byline and pulling crosses back and things like this. And I think there are probably players out there that can offer more variety in the attack on the right-hand side. And how much does that benefit the team overall? It depends on the player that you bring in, really. But on the flip side of the coin, you know, even this season, he's in on the goals, he's in on the assists, he's still there in the crucial moments. So it's difficult, because I would like to see this team And I was hoping to see this a bit more this season with Salah sort of rotated in and out to see what it would be like without him, you know, and what it would be like to have a different type of winger out on that right hand side. But you can't really argue with the fact. I mean, even in the last game, I know it wasn't a game-winning goal, but he's still there at the back stick. He's still the man that's putting the ball in the back of the net, regardless of how he's playing. So I don't want to be ungrateful. I don't want to take for granted what we've got, but at the same time, I am intrigued by how this team could operate with a different type of right winger. And let's face it, there's still goals in this side.
Someone just said that about all the players, man. If you divide up Salah's goals, simply add an extra 8 goals to all of their current thingy, it's made up for, man. Because everyone said the same thing about losing Mane, man. You can't replace Mane's goals, but Mane and Bobby's gone now, so you have to move on. I'm going to be honest with you, bro. Like, what you said's true, man. I don't like sounding ungrateful. Sometimes I just get a bit hype on that, and I'm in a joke mode and stuff like that. I love Mo, innit? But I'll be honest, the fact that all of those other guys left this summer, and I watched Origi leaving previously, and that it's most of the Champions League and league winning team, and they've gone, which has helped me come to terms with the fact that Salah's going to leave. So now when I sound like I don't care, it's just that I know what it feels like now. Because before that, it was only like Gerrard had to worry about leaving, and that was a massive thing, and then it happened, and we moved on. So now I'm thinking, okay, if I think of it from the business standpoint, he's the biggest asset we've got. And let's be honest, it's only because Saudi Arabia exists, bro. Because otherwise, everyone's price would be coming down anyway. So, as a player, I love him and I love everything he's done for the club. But when I watch him on the pitch, and this is probably the difference in it, because in big games, he still makes such a massive difference, man. Maybe more than anyone in the league, bro. But the big games are like 4 or 5 a season, maybe.
Yeah.
Man City twice. We can say Arsenal twice now. Man U, of course, because that's about where it stops. And everything else he does, I'm being serious, bro. When I look at him, I'm like, I know loads of players who can do what he's doing, bro. Like, I'm better as a winger, though. Yeah. So you are trying to tally up the goals versus his ability, because his goals can be somebody else can fill in there. Like, Tottenham just lost Kane, and it's only 4 games in, so we don't know yet, but they're scoring goals still.
Well, the comparison is the other side of the pitch. You've got someone like Diaz, who's in the game at all times, always picking up the ball, always driving, always taking his man on, contributes somewhat with goals and assists and creating moments, but not throwing up the numbers that Salah does. So,
bro, and that's why I said that. Isn't it? The anomaly is the fact that if you was going to compare the two, the issue isn't Diaz not doing the right thing. It's the fact that Salah's too good at what he does, bro, in terms of scoring goals. The regular winger, if we're basing it on people like Salah, then and Vinicius and these kind of guys, then all of a sudden it looks like someone who gets 11 goals a season and 10 assists is trash, bro. That's normal for a winger, bro. In fact, it's kind of high, and that's why when you look at what Arsenal just did, go and look at Martinelli and Saka's numbers. They're very similar to each other, like almost identical. I think it's like 12 goals and 10 assists, and one's like 13 goals and something assists. Which to me, if our wingers did that, but our number 9 scores the 20 plus goals, we're fine. And I already know Jota can do that because I've seen him do it. I believe that Diaz can get numbers like Martinelli and Saka. I don't need and then you need another right winger to do the same thing. So that's where it comes. It's like when we talk about replacing Salah, it's because we're thinking about another Salah type. But if you replace him with an actual winger and then our number 9 does the number 9 job, it changes everything. Like Man City's team at the moment, and Patman, you in the chat, you can quote me on this, and I don't think I'm wrong though. I think the rest of the team's numbers have gone down in goals, but obviously Haaland scored 50 goals, bro, and that's the way up in it. So
but what we also have, like, Arsenal's a good example because Martinelli gets goals and assists, as does Saka, not to the level that Salah does. You know, Jesus gets goals, but he was out a lot last season. And Nketiah chipped in a little bit. Midfield, Xhaka got a few. And then obviously both Gabriel and Saliba contributed. But we have players that can contribute similar numbers. So the likes of Konate and Virgil, they should be putting up some good numbers to match what Gabriel and Saliba did last season. That's possible. We have Trent that can get in on goals, and especially from set pieces. I think he'll do better than what that Arsenal side has. And then you've got Szoboszlai and McAllister from midfield that should be putting up better numbers than Xhaka and Partey did. And then, like you say, Diaz can put up numbers that Martinelli did. Our forward should be putting up better numbers than Arsenal's did last season. And so the right winger needs to be of a similar level as in terms of like a Diaz type player. There's goals across the pitch. So if you compare that with, I know, yes, Arsenal didn't win the league last season, but, you know, if you compare them with a side that has guys that throw up numbers sort of across the team, we could match that in terms of goals. Really, if not better it. So it does make you think, you know, if you replace Salah with just not a traditional winger, but like a good, you know, good winger for this league, then there is still goals in the side to be able to go and, you know, challenge for a title, certainly get Champions League. The question comes back to who though, because you said it earlier. There's just right wingers. There's just doesn't seem to be guys out there at the minute, and the ones the one that springs to mind would have been like a go get a Saka, but I don't think you can now.
No,
you know, so that's what's difficult.
Look at this. This is you can do Elise or Jarrod Bowen.
See, for me personally, Elise won't get you enough goals. Contribute. I think he'll contribute more in the 90 minutes, but he definitely won't get you enough goals. Jarrod Bowen possibly, but I wouldn't be confident in them guys throwing up numbers that Diaz is going to, like we just spoke about. Saka and Martinelli are going to. They could. I just wouldn't be convinced by it. You know, that's the leap. That's the gap.
This is what I'm trying to give you,
and that's the trouble, isn't it? That's where you find yourself is you got, you know, crazy numbers from Salah, and then you got very good players, but you almost need players between that. Do you know what I mean? And the only person I can think of that's between that isn't attainable. So,
but because you can see what I'm trying to do here, innit? I can tell that everyone's scared, innit? It's like it's a fear more than anything, because you just said about those two names that come up in it. I probably agree, Elise, but he's at Crystal Palace. Bowen throws up the same numbers as most of the other wingers, which is more than Diaz in that at the moment. So did Harvey Barnes at Leicester, and they got relegated, and he still finished on like 13 goals or something like that. So like, which is the same as what Martinelli finished on, bro. So it's like it's a fear, because if I tell you from Arsenal, you'll say yeah, but if I go from West Ham, you'll say no, but they're throwing up the same numbers. So the real thing is what do you believe? How much goals do you believe our number 9 can get? Is the real question, bro. Because if you sort that out, you should be fine. With the wingers.
Yeah, I personally think that all three of the forwards, and this won't happen because they won't play enough games, you know, between them. But if you picked one and said you are our starter in the Premier League most weeks, they're 20 goal a season, man. Each one of them. Nunes can get you 20 goals. Jota can get you 20 goals. Gakpo can get you 20 goals. Gakpo meant probably lesser, but it'd probably contribute more in the overall play and perhaps more assists. But I'd back them all to get 20 goals in the league, at least, if not, you know, sort of pushing 20 to 25. I think they could each do, but I don't think they would, because they'll be rotated between them. So I don't think they'll play the games to be able to get those numbers.
I'm gonna try something here, innit? And this is not to like, I'm not trying to troll or anything like that, bro. I'm just really interested to do this, because I did it with Ends before when I went. It's funny because the midfield we've got in, I did a video and I broke down all the stats of our midfielders' goals, because we don't score many goals in it. Like sometimes it's free a season, and we still won. And when we won the league, the numbers are up by like 2 goals. So instead of 3, it was 5, and we won the league because of it, bro. Now we've got midfielders who. The season just started, but the goal scoring midfielders, isn't it? Like Szoboszlai's on 1 already. So, all right. So, I'll go for the best team in the league, Man City, in it. Last season, just on goals, in it. So Haaland got 36 in the Prem. Yeah. But what's the next number?
12.
Yeah, 11. Foden. So like, then it's like, well, if you use Salah as what Haaland is, and the next number is 11. The next number after that is 9, and then 8, and then 7, which is Foden on 11, Alvarez on 9, Gundogan on 8, and De Bruyne on 7. And after that, it's Grealish on 5, bro. And I'm just looking at our squad, and I'm like, well, because everyone's already making a comparison safe on it. So can Szoboszlai get 7 goals? Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
100%. Can McAllister get 8 goals? Well, got more than 8 for Brighton last season. So
his penalties, Salah will be off penalties. So I think you can take 5 goals and add it to a midfielder if you wanted to. McAllister takes the penalty.
Yeah. And then you've got Julian Alvarez. Well, I think he's a baller in it, but Jota can score more goals than that. Off the bench, he can score more than goals than that. Gakpo did. In fact, I'm saying all of that. Gakpo did score more goals than that, and so did Jota in the end, bro. So like, Bobby scored them goals, and he wasn't even playing. So my point is, the goals are already there, spread amongst the team. Not to mention Nunes finished on like 15 or something like that, and he started to score goals already. I just think it's just more of a fear, bro. I think everyone's just so used to Salah, bro. And I get it. He's been the guy, innit? And that's why I said I didn't bring that up to troll. I just wanted to see that, like, if we go like for like in the different positions compared to Liverpool, like here's okay. I'll do this one more time.
We're doing exactly what Liverpool will be doing right now. What Klopp will be doing right now. It won't just be no. We're not selling him. There's got to be a reason why you say no. The reason can't be fear of losing a top star.
Yeah.
The reason has got to be what you're left with. And that's what we're doing. We're looking at what we're left with and what we can achieve with what we're left with. And there's going to be certain people that think without Salah, you can't take the goals and assists away. And there's going to be other people that think, yeah, you can, because what you're left with and how others will step up and contribute.
The interesting thing is he's not going to be here forever either way.
Exactly. And here's the thing. When's the right time to let Salah go? Because the first response I think people will say is when there's a successor there, a natural successor. Doak seems to be the sort of guy at the minute, but it's a bit early for him. See how he gets on this season. Certainly, if he was able to sort of add goals to his game, he'd be an incredible right winger in the future. Yeah. But we need to see that. You know, we can't sit here and say, you know, he's going to be an adequate replacement, because all we can see at the minute is that he can terrorize defenses, but he will need to, you know, have a bit of output in terms of numbers. If there was another guy there that was coming through that was a bit older, would be like, okay, maybe perhaps him, but there's not.
Would you buy ready-made then?
Well, I'm caught in two minds, because if Diaz steps up and the forwards get goals and the midfield get goals, I'm all right with the right winger sort of developing his game, and I've seen that Klopp can develop forwards. You know,
Mane came in on the right wing, didn't it? And then went to the left. Came in, so
I think we've got enough firepower to achieve what we want to achieve, even if that right winger gets 10 goals in the season, but is still developing his game. And then at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, Ali's here at the minute. Virgil's here at the minute. They're probably not going to be here for maybe Ali, but Virgil won't be for. I feel like this squad's got so much quality in it. It's not far off a title winning team. It's probably not far off a Champions League winning side. Plus, Klopp's here, you know, for the next year or for the next couple of years. So I'm kind of like caught in two minds. Whilst the player development I'm all right with, the overall squad development I'm like, we need to harness now, kind of thing, you know. So
because the interesting thing is, like, even when we talk about we sold Salah 220 or whatever like that. Initial thing is like replacement of Salah with the money and stuff like that. Liverpool might not to use the money somewhere else on the pitch, bro, for where that's aging and going out, bro. So we still buy a winger, but not for everyone's expecting 100 mil winger. No, the likelihood is Liverpool will buy someone for like 50 mil max, and then spend it on centre backs or in the defense, which everyone has been going on about the last couple of weeks. It's kind of smart work, to be fair, because remember, not every time when you sell people, it doesn't mean you automatically spend the money back in the same position. Sometimes it ends up like that. Like with Henderson and Fab, it's just coincidence. We needed midfielders and they left on it. But other times we might have sold like a Minamino or someone like that, spend the money somewhere else on the pitch. But I just think we're stuck between two approaches. And I think what I said about Man City in their goals, if Haaland takes the role of, if Nunes takes the role of what Haaland does, and before anyone says anything, just allow it in it. I'm not trying to compare them. I'm talking about the position on the pitch. Number 9's in it. I don't even need him to score as many goals as Haaland, to be honest, bro. But if he takes that role, there's goals around the pitch, because there's that approach with the number 9 scoring most of the goals. City don't look like they're struggling, do they? They still do their thing, but their goals are not that high, really. And then, this is Arsenal stats from last season. The top goal scorer was on 15 goals. in the Prem.
Really?
And this is how even it out. Martinelli and Odegaard number 1, 15 goals each. Saka 14, Jesus 11, and then the next person was Xhaka with 7, bro. And after that, it's all 4s. So it's just like we're a confident team, we're a talented team. I believe that over a season, even Virgil can get 4 goals, bro. Like honestly, if him and Matip put the headers away, they should be putting away, or Kanate, they should be getting that easy anyway. Them 15 and that we just read out, that is there for Diaz, Gakpo, whoever's Jota, Nunes a little bit more if he's playing direct number 9. And then spread the goals out so Szoboszlai can get 7, but McAllister can get a few. Curtis had some goals, which he did towards the end of last season. So it's an interesting conversation still.
Well, talk about development, right, of a squad and a system. Let's look at the other side of the game. If Trent's going to continue to do inverted from right back, or as we've seen in the last game, from centre back, and have Matip or probably Kanate play more of the right back, does the replacement right winger offer you more defensive work?
Exactly.
Does he support this new style better than Salah will? So whilst he might not get you the numbers in terms of goals and assists, if he can help fill the void that's kind of left through Trent coming inside, defensively would probably be a lot more compact, would probably be a lot better. And, we say all the time that defenses win titles. So it's not unrealistic to think that Salah does go and the guy that comes in, he's more of a Diaz type player where it's just work rate up and down the pitch. The overall team is just so compact, so structured, hard working, and the goals are spread across the players that are already there. That overall, as a side, you could be better in terms of a season because you can drag out your 1-0s and your 2-1s and stuff because of that. At the minute, it's still the case that people target that side. People target down Trent's channel, and whilst Henderson did a lot of work whilst he was here to cover, at the minute, the cover is being done by Kanate, Matip at the weekend, but Kanate is effectively playing 2 positions. On the pitch, it's a lot of work. So that is probably not a red flag, but certainly an amber one, as in the strain that is putting on your right centre back. Could that be solved through having a more hard-working right winger? Possibly. It's always about the side improving overall, isn't it?
I agree. And you got to think what Klopp's got after this 2026 contract runs out, I think, which I think he will leave as well. So he's trying to rebuild the squad for the future as well. He said he wants to leave in a better position than it was when he came in. So new managers prior to this, but I mean, after this might not even want people in certain positions, bro. It's just a fear I think people have, man. But
I think
Patman made a point saying that there's no adequate replacement for Salah now, and there might not be next season either because he's just Salah in it, and you kind of have to just Kane's gone, and I made a point saying a few weeks ago that before he left, I feel like Tottenham will be better, and I don't mean you've got rid of your best player so you're better. I just mean the way you play football changes completely because all of a sudden. Everything's all around the pitch and Kane's not dropping deep and you're not trying to play. When your best player's on the pitch and that guy's there, it's like, let's look to him in it all the time. Kind of like what Man U had with Ronaldo. He done his thing and got 18 goals. But most of the people were saying, like, we don't like the way we're playing football because they're just looking for Ronaldo. So,
do you feel like we do that, though? Because I got to admit, at one point during that Villa game, I can't remember when it was. It might have been like the 20th, 30th minute in. And we were playing really, really well. Like everyone getting a touch of the ball. Everyone was calm. The passing was crisp, especially out from the back. And we were sort of passing out from the back, bypassing the press. And there was so much space. And it just looked simple. Obviously, it's not because you've got to work hard to sort of get in those positions. But the football looked clean and crisp and simple. And we were just getting up the pitch with ease and getting to the 18-yard box. And it kind of, the final pass broke down or whatever it is. But we could have scored a whole lot more goals that game if the final pass was right or the final touch was right.
I agree.
And I remember at one point thinking, I think it was probably the 30th minute in, thinking, none of this is involving Salah. It was
Oh, I
coming
get what you mean.
around
Yeah.
the pitch and more down the left, more Diaz that found. And it might be because Matty Cash was sort of up the pitch and he sort of vacated that space. But Diaz was the man that was always free. It was Trent across to him or McAllister across to him. It was a Bozolai that was kind of everywhere. And at one point I thought, this team's playing so well, like proper football.
Yeah.
And Salah's not really getting touches here. And it wasn't a problem thing. It was more just we didn't need him as such to be able to play that football. And it was one of the few times that I was kind of thinking, not with this bid in mind or whatever, but just thinking this team, not that it's past Salah, not that it's anything like that, but it doesn't need him as such. There's quality everywhere else.
When you just asked that question and I said, you said, do you think that we play through Salah? And I said, yeah. I wasn't on about this season. So far this season, you're right. I've seen it different. It's because everyone's fit. And these and now these lot are fit. Diaz hasn't been there that long in terms of game time. You know what I mean? He came in the season when we won the FA Cup and League Cup, but he was injured after that. And then came in halfway through last season. So it's a bunch of new guys that don't really care, bro. The ones before grew in the space with Salah as being the guy. So it just becomes second nature to go give the ball to Salah, bro. Like, let's look for Salah.
Yeah.
These lot don't care about that. McAllister and Sabazla don't care about that, bro. They're like, no, it's a team game, bro. And you're right with Diaz doing that. And I think it kind of goes in waves with Liverpool because the first half is always left side heavy, bro. And the second half's always right side. I don't know why, but it always starts like that, bro. But that's what happened when Mane was there. So now we've got an actual winger who's fit and is on the opposite side and probably can do more on the ball than what Salah's doing. Even though Salah's movement's great and he'll probably get the goals, there's a lot more balance to it now. And you're right. When I look at the squad now, it feels like this is not against Salah, but it's natural in it. His level's not going up now. It's at a certain level. And he'll only stay at it or get worse, I think. It's not against him, I just think so. You might not even notice it, innit?
Yeah.
The rest of the guys' level's going up, though. So it's getting more balanced to where it's like, until he does something special against like a Man City or someone and sit somebody down, I won't be like, oh my God, world-class Salah. I'll be just like, great Salah. Like, again, it's Salah stuff, innit? And I said this before, because of where he plays on the pitch, usually if you don't adapt your game and end up as a centre forward from the wing position, you don't get better, bro. So you can argue that, like, I know he's already a striker, but people like Benzema got better on it. At Salah's age, they got better, bro. They didn't get worse. Ronaldo didn't get better as a player, but he got better as a goal scorer at Salah's age and turned into this machine, bro, because he couldn't do it on the wing anymore. And he was better at beating people than Salah was, but they realized very fast that every time we give this guy the ball, he does 10 step-overs and does nothing, bro. So he decided to... They won't tell you that. They'll act like, oh, no, he just chose to do it. Bro, Bale's in the squad, and they didn't need him, bro. So they moved him across, and that's what happened, and everyone adapts slowly, bro. Messi adapts in the position he was in as well, bro. And I think the better players will do that, but while Salah's at Liverpool, he doesn't need to adapt because Klopp's always going to play him on the right wing. He's the guy. And I promise everyone, it's nothing against him. I think he's cold, bro. He will not be the same player when he goes somewhere else. Saudi, maybe because of the football level. If he went to like La Liga or something like that, you'll see a difference, bro. Like, does all of a sudden he look better than Rodrigo in La Liga? Probably not, because of the style of the play. So the Liverpool level's going up. I can see a life after Salah. I have to anyway.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to finish on this before we move on, and I'll let you. When it comes to Salah or keep Salah, because one, I don't know where the money's going, and I don't know if he's going to spend it directly. And the likelihood is Klopp will find solutions in the squad. He'll probably put Sabazalai on the right and then put Gravenberch in the 8, and then all of a sudden we're fine anyway. If you ask me when I sell Salah, it's the end of the season. Because I feel like if we're going to go for Champions League football, as much as I still think we're the second best team in the league. But you'll need him. You need his know-how and his experience. He can help us win the Europa League, which is another trophy for him as well. And again, for his sake, if he wants to win the Ballon d'Or, you ain't winning it outside of Liverpool now. So do your best now. We never know what happens. The likelihood is whoever wins Champions League will win it because of the league and that. But if he goes and wins as much trophies as he can, we both helped each other out there. He gets to sign off Liverpool in a great way with a year left on his contract, which is normally when people start renewing a contract or leaving. The club get money for him because if it's 220 mil now, trust me, at the end of the year, if he has a great season, it will be lower, but it won't be much lower. You know what I mean? And even if it ends up being 100 mil, who cares, man? Like, you weren't without Saudi Arabia, you're not getting more than 100 mil Salah anywhere unless it's PSG, bro. So I think the end of the season is perfect, man. But I'm gonna end it with you. What do you think of that before we move on? What?
Well, I agree with all of your points, and I think I think we should keep him this season, certainly just to get back into the Champions League, because we need it to attract, not to attract players, because we've seen this summer that we don't necessarily need it. But as time goes on, that'll be more and more difficult. Also, we know the money that you're getting through playing Champions League football. So I would keep him to make sure we achieve that as our sort of primary objective this season. Plus, hopefully, get a trophy in and stuff. And like I said at the start, I think come the summer, there will probably be a budget to go and improve the squad again. And selling Salah will add to that budget. But does it add to it enough to go and change your whole, when I say change, improve your transfer strategy? I don't think it will. I don't think we go into next summer thinking, okay, we've got 100 million to spend. Let's get a centre back. Let's get a midfielder. And then you sell Salah and think, oh, suddenly we've got an extra 100 million. Let's go get a Kylian Mbappe. It won't happen.
I agree. And that's why man
still sign the same. You still sign the same caliber of players. So for that reason, I'm thinking it sounds, like I say, it sounds mad to say. I just don't think we need the money.
No, I get it, bro.
I think the squad's quality, and I think we'll make the signings to improve the squad regardless. So if there was a clear and obvious target that you could replace him with, then I'd be like, and you thought you needed the money. Let's say Saka was an option, but he was 120 million. I'd be like, okay, let's do that. But I don't think there is.
No, I don't think the same thing. He said sell Salah and get Saka for 150 mil.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just can't. And the other wingers that I think are out there that I would really like to see come in and play for us are all left wingers. So unless, not to say they can't come in and play on the right and do a job, but they are left wingers, and there's just nobody that springs to mind that can do it. So for that reason, I'd just keep him, because Liverpool would have, like you said, he signed a contract. They'd have been planning, maybe not intensely at this stage, but certainly it'd be in the back of their minds that he'll be leaving in the future, whether it's next summer or at the end of his contract. So just stick to the plan. Just stick to what you're doing, because it's yes, we had a bad season, but overall the club's in a good position and the squad's improving. Just stick to the plan. And if you've got a target come next summer, say someone has a breakout season and they're an option come the summer, and you feel like you need the money to be able to go and do it, then sell him to get the option in. But I don't think that happens. So I'd rather keep the player.
All the other clubs have done. All the clubs that have like these stars that everyone rates but are not sure yet, like Elise and them people, they've all just signed them up to new contracts in it, because they know they're going to lose them. So instead of like letting them go now, they've signed new contracts because of this big money. But you're right, man. There ain't no right wingers, bro. I like Chiesa, and that's about it, to be honest, bro. And the rest of them all play for clubs that they've either signed contracts for, they've got £1 billion buyout clauses, bro. So,
and there was, you know, when Kulevski came to Spurs and on the initial loan, I thought, he might be a player. Not quite match that level. He might go on to have a really good season with the way that Spurs are playing and contribute. He might be an option. If Elise, I think he'll struggle to, but if he sort of puts in performances and numbers quite like Saka did, a similar type of player, possibly an option, you know. And then there's obviously people in Europe, but I think as it currently stands, not that we can sign them, but you asked the question today, I simply don't know who we go out and get. So for that reason, I might as well keep the man.
I can't lie, bro. I really believe that whatever happens, bro, the money will get spent somewhere else. I think the player who plays on the right wing's in our squad already. Judging by the talent what's out there, is there much talent what's better than what we've already got? Probably not, bro. You know what I mean?
And it is one for you. Everyone keeps saying that 220 million now, right? But come the summer, he's only got a year left. They're not going to offer more money again. Let's not kid ourselves. Salah he's what they want. He's the prized asset. He's the guy that they want to be the face of, not all of it, but certainly the pin-up guy of this league. You know, that's the guy. There's probably a reason they've left it so late, is because they wanted to sort of go out with a bang as such, you know, got all these top stars, but he's the guy. That interest ain't going to drop. That ain't going to go anywhere. No, and yes, you might not get 220 because they'll think, oh, you've only got a year left. Well, yeah, go another year without him then if you want to. But they won't want to, because they've got the money to spend and they want it here and now, you know. If we talk about sports washing and the image of the league and stuff, they want him. We're the guys. We hold the asset. They really want him. So come the summer, 1 year left. Well, Real Madrid might be interested.
That's what I'm saying,
Barcelona might have been took over in that time, and they might be interested. You just don't know how the landscape's going to lie. So I think whilst you're with the club with the asset, you can afford to be calm, because this ain't going to go away. Whether we like, it's not going to be nice for his fans, because unfortunately it's going to be a bit of a distraction from the league a little bit, much like when he was, didn't sign that contract during that season and we spent all season going, is he going to stay or not? It might be a similar scenario, but in terms of finances and in terms of selling him, yeah, it might not be 220. It's certainly going to be a lot of money. And like I say, I don't even think that money makes a difference to our transfer plans, but he'll still be an asset that they'll want to get come the summer.
Honestly, just put up a few names and as I said, man, my thing ain't changed, bro. I've looked around on that, man, and I feel like it's probably going to be another like how Salah started, bro. Salah wasn't the man we got. You know what I mean? He's changed, bro. So it's likely to be that someone has to be patient with that guy and not look to him to be the next Salah. But a couple of names you put up, man. My thing, I just don't see anyone, bro. Honestly, bro. People in our squad already. Adeyemi maybe, because I like him. He's cold. And Sane won't come to Liverpool. If he did, then that's about it. Pop is what it is, man. Big up everyone in the chat inside and that, man. Stop trying to cause problems in the chat, man. I said hello to people and that. I put the comments up, bro. Stop the foolishness, bro. Big up everyone inside, man. Big up Gary and Bayesian, bro. But yeah, man. Let's keep it Liverpool, bro. Let's talk. Let's talk the exclusive interview on it. Yeah, I'm gonna say, man. Now he's had his interviews. The last time I'm talking about man like Jordan and that, because my guy's still. But finally, he's had an interview. Spoke on a few things. Sadly, I don't know. There's not a visual interview yet, innit? So I don't know where you're gonna get that. But I've seen the written interview from the Athletic and stuff like that. I went through it. I don't know. Did you read on what he said and everything like that?
I read it. Yeah, I read it. Perhaps not the whole thing. But I've read the sort of headline quotes, which probably ain't the best thing to do because it might be out of context. But
yeah. A few takeaways from there, man. I mean, let's be honest. It's not a big thing. He's not a Liverpool player anymore. He's our past captain. He's a Liverpool legend, and he was always going to speak on it. Now, one thing I have to say to people before we get into this is, I told absolutely everybody at the time, stop running this narrative about how much money he's getting, because it's not true. I knew it straight away, bro. It doesn't matter what happens. There was never a phase where I thought Henderson's getting 700k a week, bro. No way. Even when I checked out the club to make sure what kind of club they were, they're not even under that the Saudi the funding group. They're not even in their league. They're like the Villa of their league, bro, with less money. So I'm like, so you think they're gonna spend all their money on 7? So remember, that was the narrative everyone gave. So all you like were talking shit, run it back in it, because you was all like, oh yeah, but it's revealed now, in it. 130 is what he's getting, just tax free. Not for the money, bro. He said it's not for the money as well.
But the tax free part's quite nice.
Of course it is, bro. But he said financially, of course, there has to be right business, because that you know about this. You run a business and stuff like that. When you say to someone it's not about money, but then still take money, that people want to try and use it against you and then go, oh, well, then why don't you just do this for free? Then I'm like, no, I'm not. It's not about money, but I'm not stupid, bro. Like, I still have a life to live. Like, oh, I didn't go and get a job at Aldi for the money. What? Yeah. Well, why did you get the job there? Then, like, you need to get paid, isn't it? Like, it's just normal. But it's not. But what the thing is, what we're getting from this interview is not gone above and beyond with the money, which is the money that everyone said he's going to be able to give to his great grandkids. Come on, man.
It's just like, come on, it's like going to a party. I mean, you're going there for the music, obviously, and just catch up with your mates. But if you leave with a girl, it's just part and parcel of it, ain't it?
Yeah, and then
you didn't go there for the girl.
You said you wasn't going there for a girl. I didn't. But comes with the life. The biggest takeaway was, and I think this is more on the stuff that people have been assuming about Klopp. And I don't know where it comes from, bro. And I know you've heard this yourself, bro. And I don't know if you've fed into this propaganda, bro. I hope you haven't. I rate you too much on it. But, bro, this thing about I don't know who said who. Where did it come from that Klopp's been given more power, bro? Like where did it come from, bro? There's nothing to prove that. And I said at the time, like Milner left, and he said, not me, not the Athletic. Milner said, I watched it at the end of the game. They asked him like about moving on and stuff. Then he was like, "Listen, I would have loved to stay at Liverpool. The gaffer wanted me to stay. The club had other ideas, and he accepted it." And at that point, I was like, "This man's got all this power in that, but he can't keep Milner, bro. Considering you're already getting rid of Ox and Naby at the time, it's like an easy trade-off. Okay, we'll get rid of Ox and Naby, but we'll keep Milner." And they still said no. So that point, I was like, nah, this power thing's rubbish. And like, no, because the transfers do. Well, okay, we've got great transfers now. What are you saying about Klopp's power, bro? Is he still shit at it, bro? What's going on, really? And Henderson said he wanted to feel wanted, and the proposition he got from Steven Gerrard made him feel like that. And he also said, if they wanted me to stay, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Mm-hmm. And they is on about the club in general. So there's Klopp, there's FSG and all that. And he spoke about his game time and stuff like that, and getting to a certain age, he doesn't want to be sitting on the bench, which I have nothing against that. But what do you think to that comment there? Because the assumption everyone gave is Klopp pulled him in the office and he sat him down and said, Nah, bro, Klopp just said, "Hey, I got to get some new players still. What you doing?"
We make up we don't have the facts, so we like to make up our own scenarios, don't we? It's just we do it all the time as fans. When you
bump into somebody out, you're out and you bump into somebody, and they're like, "Oh, what's going on? Long time no see." And I'm like, "Yeah, can we just stick with the hello and leave?" And they start following you around, and then you're like, "Yeah, man. So just gonna go buy some trainers. What you doing?" Because just hoping that they leave and that, and it's like, nah, I'll follow you. I'll just walk.
Yeah, I'm not. I got time.
Yeah, and that's what Klopp is like. Nah. When I said I was buying some new players, I'm saying like, got some new players in the 8 still. What you doing? Like, you sit on the bench now? You can still be captain, but you're saying you're holding bench and that. Like,
you're holding the armband and that's it. Do you know what? Like, the power thing, I don't know, to be honest with you. I think the power thing comes perhaps because of the Julian Ward leaving and Michael Edwards leaving prior to that, and operations, surprise, still happening, and people just thinking, oh, well, somebody's got to pick up the workload. It must be Klopp. Because let's face it, a lot of fans don't know the rest of the staff, do they? They don't take the time to actually go and find out who works there. They think it's just a FA. They think it's John Henry, Julian Ward and Klopp. And some might know Linders, and that's it. Maybe Kravitz, I don't know. But there's a lot of other people in between, But I think it's probably come about that in that respect. Also, I think George coming in and that sort of German sort of link and stuff. People sort of, I don't know how true this is, saying that they have a relationship from before, and maybe they were perhaps friends and stuff. And he was there because he was on a short-term contract, which isn't true. He's actually got a long-term contract. They just was going to discuss that contract after 3 months. But it come out that it was a short-term contract, and it seemingly was just like an advisory kind of thing, a helpful thing. And when you're advising someone, that suggests that the person you're advising is the position of power. So I think it's fans sort of filling the gaps with stuff that they're sort of making up, to be honest with you. Always round. Klopp will have power. He's always had power from the minute he came in, but he's part of a team, and conversations are had, and some things he might be more strong about and force through, and other things he might not get his own way. That's just the way it goes. In terms of going back to the Henderson stuff, the reaction I've sort of seen is that he was forced out. Now, being forced out is very different to just someone saying nothing. Like the way you just described it then is bang on. It's like an offer came in, they accepted it and did nothing else. And that told him all he needed to know. It wasn't as if that, I mean, I'm doing what I just said here, I'm filling in the gaps. But you go off what he said. No one come to him and was like, you're surplus to requirements now. No one come to him and said, you don't fit the new system. We don't see you in the future. Quite simply, an offer come in, and the people that make the decisions on transfers thought, yeah, let him go. and that's why he didn't feel wanted. But surprise, surprise, you wasn't wanted because look at what we've got now.
Yeah,
some people might argue he would still be, a good contributor to this season, even after the signings we've made.
Yeah.
But would he getting ahead of McAllister and Zaboszlai? The answer is none. So
I think, listen, I'm a believer of two things can be right at the same time, innit? And you as the professional and how you're seen is two different things, innit? I had this with End yesterday when I was talking about the Sancho and Ten Hag thing. Ten Hag saying Sancho didn't make in the squad because for Manchester United you have to train a certain way and be at a certain level. Then Sancho coming out saying, I'm not being used as a scapegoat. I was great. I've been training great. Well, yeah, you're allowed to think you train. You're allowed to think that you train great, and the manager's allowed to think that you're not up to the level, bro. You know what I mean? There's certain things that everyone thinks that they're doing, and someone else doesn't think that. That's the difference between having a manager and not. So, of course, I'll read the statement as well in a minute. Well, one of the quotes. Of course, this man went away, and we saw him come back all lean and stuff like that. But I'm getting new guys in, and when you buy new guys who are this young at like a prime age for football, they're coming into play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not, you're not being forced out. I'm just telling you, this is what you're going to have to deal with, bro. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with Henderson going, I respect it, but nah, I feel like I can offer more. And Klopp going, you can offer more, but these players can offer what we need going forward. Is this what we're going to go with? So he said here, which I don't know how everyone else put it online and that, because I don't think there's anything bad from this whole interview, to be honest. It's just the way he said certain things. So
it's the not wanted part. But here's the thing. At some point, every single player at every single club is not wanted to a degree or not wanted enough. Hence the reason why they move on.
Of course.
Like,
and not being wanted from Liverpool as much, but then Gerrard's making you seem what feel wanted, which is what he said. Of course you feel wanted if someone comes to sign you, bro. It doesn't matter what club comes in. It's like, okay, like, I just thought I'll peter out Liverpool for the rest of my career, and you know what I mean, I'll get to a stage where I don't play as many games, but now you got a new lease of life and it's a new project, bro. So
yeah,
I mean,
like I said, he turns around to Klopp and he goes, there's this opportunity here. They really want me. It's a new venture. And Klopp, do you want me here? And Klopp's gone, you know what? You're probably not going to get a whole lot of playing time. And it's as simple as that.
And I think man to man,
it's not
speak properly.
It's not. I think it's not feeling wanted as a headline. It's like, oh my God,
exactly.
He wasn't respected. People mistaken wanted with respected. He's not respected, and Liverpool sort of forced him out. And it's none of that. That's all made up.
Has nobody linked a girl for too long, and then all of a sudden, even though you told her the truth, and she's like, so where we going? Like, where we moving on from here, man? I want a boyfriend and that. And you're just like, nah, you're great and that. I just don't want a girlfriend, man. And then she's like, well, there's only so much I can do because I think like ready to move on with my life and have kids and stuff. And you're like, yeah, so I rate you in that still. You make a great girlfriend and that, bro, but not my girlfriend. And that's what Klopp told Hendo. He's like, nah, bro, you're not gonna make my great girlfriend, bro. I've got some other line that coming in. So go get it. But whatever man you go to and that, hope he treats you right. And then Gerrard, he said, and this is a good point for him, and I understand why he said this as well. And this is the factor I said in early, bro. England squad, and he's in the last legs of the England squad, bro. Like, there's only so many tournaments you can do. If you do it on basis, every 4 years Euros, every 4 years World Cup, so it's a tournament every 2 years, isn't it? And the midfield's getting better, bro. Let's be honest, like Bellingham, and that's there now. Rice is playing for Arsenal. He's going to get in the squad. Hendo's actually done well in the England squad to stay around, but it's going to happen. And he says, I had a chat with the manager at the end of the season, which was about the season coming up, the players we were looking to bring in and what the plans were. I went away over the summer and I had an intense period of training to make sure that I was in the best shape possible when I returned to Liverpool. Once it became clear he was not going to be playing, Henderson had to review all of his options before him heading to the Euros 2024. Henderson said, if I'm not playing, as anybody will know, especially the manager, that can be quite difficult for me. And especially when I've been at the club for so long. I've been captaining the team for so long, especially when England is a big thing for me. You've got the Euros coming up. I'm in the latter stages of my career and I want to be happy playing football. I want to play. I don't want to be sitting on the bench and coming on for 10 minutes in the game. There's more quotes to that. I wanted something that would excite me. And that's not to say that those clubs wouldn't excite me, but because they are great clubs and they have whatever. Let's talk about something else here, man. But you get what he's saying, bro. Basically, what our whole fan base said is not what he wants, and I said that at the time, and you have to respect it, bro. Everybody in our fan base, some of it was a bit lazy, but to be fair, that everyone said he can just become our new James Milner. Well, lose James Milner, and he can become the Milner, innit? And he's just like, nah, I don't want him. There's nothing wrong with that either, bro. Like, I don't want him, bro.
Yeah.
You want me to just come off the bench for 10 minutes, bro, and see out the game? I don't want to, bro. Like, and I think the conversation would have been way more respectful than everyone's making up, bro, because they're cool with each other, innit? Yeah. You know what I mean? If anything, if he's been my captain that long and we're cool like that, and he's always said that I can speak to him about anything, we saw them in the Champions League and that their relationship they've got. The likelihood is Klopp told him in a different kind of way, like, now we're looking to bring in these players, bro, but I have to be honest with you, bro, like, for your sake, for your own sake and that, I don't even want to be disrespectful to you, but this is what is going to happen.
Yeah.
And he has to be like that because his own job's going to be on the line, bro. After the season we just had. If we had a better season, that wouldn't have happened, bro. But after the season what we just had, and then taking a step back and sitting there with your team and analysing all the games and that and going, we weren't good all over the pitch, but our biggest problem is the midfield, and you're part of it, bro. And it's not just him. Luckily for him, Fab stepped away as well because he probably would have had to have that conversation at some point. Yeah. So I'm not mad at him.
Thing is, that conversation happened whilst there was a good opportunity there for him. Very different if they have that conversation and there's not, because it's letting him down, and then he's got to find a new club or react in a certain way about what he's going to do in his career. But the option was there to go, and Klopp basically said, just we don't know, but basically told him the truth of what was going to happen in the future, knowing that he would have options elsewhere. It worked out for all parties. So I don't think anybody can come out looking bad in this, but we need to sort of see the interview as a whole because we don't know kind of the context of it or what else was said.
It's the way, even the way certain things are said on it. Because when they asked him about the money, he laughed, but on the interview it just says, "quote Henderson laughs." Then he says, when they asked him about the 700, and he's laughed and said, "I wish, man." I don't know where everyone got that from, but it makes sense, bro. Let's be honest, bro. Like at the time, I was like, "Listen, you know how much I love Hendo, bro," but I was like, "There's no way that someone's paying him that much money, bro. Like no one, bro." So it's what it is, man. There's other quotes from it. I guess the main other talking point is the LGBTQ thing. I have to be honest, bro. I don't care. He said he didn't want to hurt it. No, he said, bro. He basically said, "I always feel like if there's something that people need my help with, I'd love to help out, and I have my views." And he said that he feels like, one, he didn't want to hurt anyone, but he feels like he doesn't want to bury his head in the sand and act like certain things don't exist. And I think it's a positive me being here and having the views I have. But that's kind of it. And he also said it's easy and this is a big point. He said it's easy for everyone to sit and look at everyone else's cultures and have work and have things to say about it and that, but not do anything.
Yeah,
which is true.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Everyone talking shit because I'm going to be professional today, innit? You know what I mean. But I'm just going to say, how many gay people go to Dubai a year, bro? That's all I'm going to say, bro. You see where I'm going with it, innit? If you've got such a problem, Dubai's tourism would be down a little bit because, so because whether it's illegal or not and you hide and pretend not to be, you still are, innit? So it's morals at the end of the day we're talking about. So whether we can see that you're gay or not, which I'm just saying that, like, you still went there. So what you went, so don't be whinging at Henderson for doing what he's done, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, unless you've cancelled all trips to anywhere that has a problem with this kind of thing, then that's pointless, bro. That's like me as a black man getting mad at somebody who's gone to play in Russia, bro, because there was one team in Russia that was had racist problems and that. But then I go somewhere else that's got racist problems. Like, bro, it's individual stuff, man. Let the man live, innit? I have to be honest. Listen. My memories of Henderson are just left in what it is, bro. Innit? Winning certain things, the Hendo shuffle is what it is, man. But now that's the last thing, innit? Until he comes back to the club, watches the game at Anfield, and has like stand ovation or something like that. I don't want to talk about him again, bro. Like, what's the point? Like, we've got new guys.
It feels a little bit to me just a bit like baggage. It feels like we're entering into this, entering into the new season. Klopp 2.0, if you want to call it that. New players into the squad that are very exciting, young as well. There's a lot of optimism for the future of Liverpool. and what we can achieve and how the team's going to perform, I don't care about the players of the past. I'm moving forward. I'm focusing on, the future. And it's come at a time where we're entering into an international break, so there's not going to be a whole lot happening in terms of stories wise and stuff. The Saudi league, the transfer window will close on Thursday. It might be a bit quiet, but you don't want this sort of stuff coming about during the season because it's just unnecessary noise. It's like, okay, you was our captain for 12 years. And you were a great servant to the club, and you leaving worked for all parties. There doesn't need to be anything more than that. One day you can come back and have a testimonial.
Yeah, that's what both of us said.
Just move forward. Liverpool move forward, and you move forward, and that's it.
Exactly. Like you prefer this to just be a video in it because, as I said, we know what Henderson's character's been our captain for so long. So any like title you bring from the interview, I'm like, you're gonna make it sound worse than it is, bro. He doesn't even talk like that, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking in a happy place. He's not talking from an angry place, bro. So it's all going to be fun memories and all that stuff, bro. You know what I mean? Otherwise, he wouldn't have come back and recorded the video and all that stuff to say bye to the fans. Listen, he's just there with the alumni of Liverpool now, with all the mandem that left before, bro. So,
and let's face it as well, these short sort of statements have been released. They've been released at a time where Liverpool aren't going to be playing football, so it's going to be quiet anyway. And these articles aren't going to be drowned out by the stuff that we really care about, which is the actual football. And also, Klopp's not going to be in a press conference to be able to respond. So these kind of statements and stuff, they can do the rounds on social media and stuff. And they can rile people up, and they'll get clicks because of the timing.
It happens every time, and every time international break comes, there's a talking point because he probably recorded this a while ago. Because he's playing in it. He's currently playing, bro. So when did he probably recorded a while ago himself? So
I don't. The more it you sort of see it on Twitter and stuff, it will always elevate because it will be in front of your eyes constantly. But I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest with you.
Before we move on, just off the back of that, bro, it's not really about Henderson, but all this like politics stuff in football. I'm not saying being ignorant to his stuff, but do you think it's just too much, bro? Because no one ever takes. There's no nuance to anything, bro. So everyone just takes what they want to take from stuff, and it's like it's black or white, and there's no gray area. It's like you support this, so don't ever do this. You didn't say this, so this means you're this. And I'm like, and I'm not just talking because we just spoke about Henderson, but it's been going on for so long and stuff like that. We had it in the lockdown with the Black Lives Matter thing. It's like, some guys don't want to take the knee. All of a sudden, you got a problem with them guys and that. But if you go and speak to them and they tell you the reason, they're like, he's not got a problem. He's actually saying he's trying to give a better solution on it. So, and like, I don't know, man. It might just be me, man. I think I'm just not interested in that stuff. So like, it becomes a bigger talking point than football all the time. And I'm like, unless someone's harmed, bro. You know what I mean? Unless it's someone's actually victimized by what's going on. What are we doing here? Like, we're just basically saying that no one's allowed to have opinions on anything anymore.
Yeah, I think... there's both sides to it, isn't there? Like the players have a voice, they have power, and they can say things that can sort of transcend through, social media and stuff and reach, every angle of the globe, and people will listen and follow and believe whatever it is they're saying because of their love for the player, the player, man. not the person. If Haaland comes out and says, I really like such and such, most people follow it, not because of what he's saying, because of who he is and what he does. Haaland. Yeah. So I think it's good for people in positions of power to use that positively and speak out on things and stuff like that. But I don't think there should be a pressure for it. And I think we need to sort of ease off a little bit. Like, yes, Henderson sort of stood for a lot of things. Yeah. The only way that I would be upset with it is if he went over to Saudi and he suddenly just changed his opinion on things. I don't need him to be active on what he's doing. Exactly. I just need him to be honest with himself. And if his opinion is the same, great. Yeah. And when asked, be brave enough to stick by what you stand for. But if it does change, then explain why it's changed. And hopefully that change is coming about because he's just been educated or seen a different side of something. Yeah. So I don't need him to go over there and start putting, rainbow flags in everywhere.
I agree.
And making whole statements. But if he's asked on the topic, I would like for him to remain consistent with what he's previously stood for.
Oh,
And
the reason why I asked him because
that's all I would expect from him.
He did. They asked him in the interview, and he said, "I still remain how I feel, bro." Like, so that's my point. Why does he have to go in there and keep saying other things and that? Because basically what I'm getting at is there's never going to be balance in it, bro. It's always, if you stick with this one thing over this side, then there's a group of people over this side pissed off, and it's never going to be balanced, bro. You know what I mean? And it just depends on which side of the coin, the political stage people sit on it. Because remember, at the same time, with the stuff that was going on with Henderson with that group, there's another side that's a religious side to other people in it. And then you're basically saying that, like, for you to accept what's going on over here, I have to go against my religion. And to some people, well, most people, their religion's way bigger than what you've got to say. So how about everyone has their views, you don't harm anybody else, and you get on with your life, bro? You kind of have to, man. Because most people, everyone's views don't agree with what I think, and everyone's views don't agree with what you think, bro. But at the end of the day, the thing, it's football, isn't it? It's
football, and it's about inclusivity, and that's what makes the game so beautiful. Is that you know, everybody, regardless of your background, can come and watch and talk about it and play. And you see it on the platforms that we're on. There's people of all sorts of backgrounds.
Yeah, man.
So if you're going to have an environment where you encourage that, you just need to sort of maintain some kind of control or whatever. There's always going to be a negative spin-off, but then you always need to just apply the context to it. You know, just bring it back in. You know, and clarify your points, because the last thing you want to do is be the other way and just neglect the topics and turn a blind eye to it. And suddenly people feel excluded. People suddenly don't feel comfortable going to stadiums. People don't feel comfortable coming on social media and giving their opinions, you know, and even down to the players and the staff. You know, we spoke about, when was it, the other week? I think it was in the championship or whatever. There was the first black linesman or official or something. Yeah, you know, we should be not necessarily encouraging it, but if it happens, great. You know, it's showing that inclusivity. It's showing that there's a pathway, and it's a pathway not based on your background, because that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is that you can do your job. You know, so
I think people need to. Yeah, I think everyone needs to find a balance, man. I really believe so, man. I seen the talking points over after I did all the World Cup watch along for the ladies, and it's such a great tournament. They didn't win in the end, but they got to the final and that. And then I was like, I thought the talking points was still about the football, and I was like, oh no, it's because how come the team isn't inclusive? I'm like, what? And the thing is, it's like the people are speaking on it. I'm like, you don't watch women's football, bro. So why you, like, you're not around to see if, like, the reason why all these girls are playing is because they're more skillful than the other girls who are just happen to be a different color, or they've been picked. You're not even a part of it, so shut up, man. Like, because you end up commenting on stuff that you don't know, bro. You know what I mean? So it's weird to me, man. And there's no nuance in certain places, and it's weird, bro. You know what country you're in, bro. It's not about anything being racist. It's just about the certain countries have more colored people than another color. It's just natural, bro. It doesn't matter where you go in the world, innit? So if they happen to be all white on the team, it's not that rare. It's not weird. If something's such a low percent, not to mention, on top of that, they're women. So most little girls do not go out to be professional footballers, bro. So then you got a smaller pool to choose from even then. Then you got people's backgrounds and stuff. Then, like, oh, where did they get the chance to go and play football? Well, if you're probably in the inner city, whether what color you are, you probably don't have a chance from there. So then when you listen to the England players speak, some of them are just posh girls, bro. So it's just, so like, it's not weird, bro. People have to stop that, bro. They have to stop that, man. It's kind of silly, bro. No, England's becoming that place, isn't it? Because everywhere else in the world, bro, no one does that, bro. No one does that. Like, oh, Brazil team's not inclusive, innit? How come they're all Brazilian? Fucking Brazil, bro. What do you? I don't know about this Jamaican team, man. Seems to be a lot of black people on this Jamaican team. Oh yeah. You might want to go look at the percentage of the fucking country, you idiot. And that's what I mean, but there's no nuance to it, bro. At all, bro. Like, I can't believe Henderson's gone over there and supported that. I saw you waving your England flag in the World Cup. Wait, what? Then you go to the World Cup, bro. What are you talking about? Hey, man. You know how it goes, man. But let's move on. Everyone in the chat, man, if you got any good questions, I'll start them, and then just when me and Cav finish up, we'll get to them questions as well. Let's get this, man. Oh, take off the ticker, man. What's going on there? Yeah. Yeah, man. Surprise starters. Let's get it, man. For good or for bad, man, like having that. You know what I'm saying? A little speech out there. Spoke to you about this earlier, man. You suggested this, and I thought it was a good idea. In fact, what we in 4 games in? Well, we international break now, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Let's let you take this one, man. Surprise starters, man. Good or for bad. Is there any players that have surprised you so far this season in the way they've kicked on instantly? Or people that have let you down and you thought they'd hit the ground running and haven't done anything yet? And I know it's only 4 games, but we are at a top tier level of professional football, bro. So even though you give people a little bit of grace, this isn't an indictment on the whole season. There might be a striker that hasn't scored yet, but by the time we get to the end of the season, he's top goal scorer. But up until now, they haven't flattered this even. I've got a few in mind, I think, from different teams. So yeah, what are you saying?
One of the guys that sprung to mind, not that it's the biggest. It's hard to be massively surprised because there's only 4 games. But one of the players that we kind of probably a lot of us put in our fantasy teams thinking he could do quite well, and certainly because of the absence of their main striker. But I thought Mbeumo has started the season really well, and it's easy to say because we speak about Mbeumo all the time. Technically brilliant footballer. You know, got great ball retention.
Cav, you know he can
powerful.
Cav, you know he can play on the right wing. Carry on.
But a lot of people were saying in the absence of Tony, he'll be the guy to get the goals, and that's why he went in a lot of players' fantasy teams. But I just think he's seized the opportunity at the start of the season in the absence of Tony, and I think he's just given them exactly probably what they wanted from him so far. They've had a good start to the season, and he's contributed with goals and his all-round play. I think he's just started the season incredibly well. And if he continued this until Tony got back, you'd be talking about one of the players one of the forwards of the league, you know. So he would be a standout, you know, starter for me. I think he's done really well.
He's got a lot to his game, hasn't he? A lot, man.
Yeah. He's one of them players that when he picks up the ball, control's always good. He always takes it on the turn as well. He'll his slight body movement can put a defender off. And once he's sort of alongside you or in front of you, he's just so strong. You know, I don't know if he's particularly quick, but he just seems
Cav, you just got stink of the week for that, bro. I don't know what's going on. What did you just say? What did you just say?
I said I don't know if he's...
Nah, you have to hold that still. I've never heard someone say that in my life. You just say you don't know if he's fast, bro.
I don't know if he's fast, no.
God, he's rapid, bro.
What, Mbeumo?
Bro, he's rapid,
is he?
Bro. Yeah. Bro,
I don't know then. Bro. I don't know then, because
Do you think Ivan Toney's fast?
How I was going to finish that statement was, when he gets by people, they seemingly can't get back at him. That's what I was going to say. So I might have corrected come the end of that.
Nah, bro, that's killed me, bro. That's up there with when Donny said that Rafael Leao was slow, bro.
Nah. We're not going that far, Jesus.
Nah, bro, Cav, I love you, bro, but that is the funniest shit, bro. You went and picked that as one of his main attributes and said, I don't know if his...
I don't think his speed is one of his main attributes.
What?
Nah.
What? Oh my God, bro. Nah, bro. Nah, you're my guy still. That's funny, bro. He's rapid, bro.
Is he?
Look at the chat, bro. He's rapid, bro. Oh, okay, did you say Gakpo was slow? Because man are sending for you.
I never said that. I never said that. Hey. All I know is, right, I've never looked at him and thought he's quick. I've probably just thought his touch is great. He's done so much.
You don't remember when he bodied Canate, bro? Remember when he bodied Canate and ran off?
Yeah, but I'm focusing on the first stage. The bit where he's ran off, I'm like, no one's going to catch him. I suppose I'm never really focused on the fact that you have to be fast to enable.
He might be their fastest player, bro. I'm just letting you know that.
I don't know. Weiss is quick.
Nah, he's faster than him.
Okay. Maybe it's a compliment to him that I don't focus on that. If that's his,
that's true. I think that's true. Hey, you saved yourself, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go with one good, and then I'll go back to you, and you can give me a bad one on it. Start to the season. I'm gonna go with. The problem is, it's not surprised me, bro. I was gonna go Madders, man, but he actually hasn't surprised me. He's playing exactly how I thought he'd play.
Do you think? I don't
Madden's
know.
playing. He's playing exactly how I thought he'd play. Yeah. And I knew it, man. A bit of fun and confidence in that, bro. Enjoying his football. I'm gonna go with Ferguson. Brighton. Because in a season which last season they were full of confidence and he was first coming in. Once you throw someone into that team brimming full of confidence and he's not playing as many minutes, it's quite like, okay, we know that he doesn't stop running. He's just like tireless and stuff like that. Does he kick on though in the following season? Because Brighton's getting better and better. And I had this argument with Enz and Zabiri the other day because they said that he's like, he ain't all that at all. So, and then tried to destroy his hat trick and say it was meaty. But he shot me still. Like, he actually looks like he could easily just lead the line for them now already, bro. He's young, innit? How old is he? 19?
18. 18, yeah, because I've seen the charts, the youngest players to score a hat trick. Owen's in there a couple of times. Jesus Christ, man! I think he was the youngest, and then he was sort of third on the list again. But 18 years old, scoring a hat trick.
Basically, what Zabiri and said is he playing for Brighton, so of course he's going to get chances. I'm like, that is a dead argument, bro. That's a dead argument to me, bro, because man had 4 shots into the game, scored a hat trick, and one of them got saved, tipped around the bar, and he's been playing like this, bro. And I watched the whole game, and he's non-stop, bro. Non-stop causing problems, man. And I think I said, no, in fact, when I messaged in the WhatsApp group while the match was on, and I kept mentioning it. Then I was like, is this guy, if they didn't just sign, I like Rasmus Højlund, to be honest, but I'm like, he looks like, when I was a kid, this is the kind of guy who's destined for United. Without, like, Fergie would have just took him off him. So I'm glad that never happened still. But you want to give me someone who surprised you, who's bad? And Enz, what you mean he's not that good, bro? Stop the foolishness, bro. You know what? Cav, you know what these guys said to me? It's like, I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the highlights. And he just looked like he was running around. I'm like, there's 3-minute Sky Sports highlights, bro. He scored a hat-trick. And you watch the 3-minute highlights, which is all about him because they won 3-1. And he didn't do anything. Nah, man.
Oh, man. Bad. Who's been surprisingly bad? I don't know. You might have to help me out on this one. I should have thought about it a bit more. I was focusing on the players I've been happy with, to be honest. It's harder to pick who's been bad than good, really. Because I think there's been a few players that started the season really well. Have you got a bad? Go on, talk to me about your bad. You have to come back to me.
Mo Salah. Nah, I'm joking.
In the same side, I'm not sure it's so much bad, but I had João Pedro down to be a great player for Brighton, and I think he's been dropped a couple of times, hasn't he? Probably because of Ferguson's sort of availability. But I'm really bad. This is a kid.
I think he's been cold, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. The first game, he was the best player. That they won Luton, and they punched up Luton in that game. What was the second? They played Newcastle on the weekend, didn't it? It was the middle game. It was the middle game. He was the best player and he won a penalty. I think he's been good. I don't know that you might be right, bro. But the thing is, I don't know if Brighton are dropping players or just change, because you know how good Enciso is. He didn't start the season, bro.
Yeah.
And they brought him off the bench twice, and then I think he set up solid March twice in the Luton game towards the end. But Pedro was the best in that game. I mean, it is hard because 4 games in, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you
I got high expectations.
Well, yeah, but then that's fine. Then I think nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I just see it because he scored. He didn't in the first. I don't think, did he score in the first game?
Scored in the first game.
Scored in the first. He took the pen, didn't he? But he missed quite a few chances in that game.
Yeah.
And then I haven't watched the other games since then, but I know he got not dropped, but he didn't start one of the games. But I mean,
who did I just had someone then? Okay, I was going to say Tonali in it for Newcastle, but I'm gonna say Bruno Guimaraes, bro. He's been
Yeah.
trash. He's been trash, bro. For someone who is like highly touted as a midfielder, he's obviously Newcastle's biggest signing, I think. Well, up until Tonali just came in and that, and he's been like since Eddie Howe's been there, and made the signings. He's been their linchpin in their squad, in it. Like if you look at the squad before a game, you go, "Oh, if Bruno's not playing, it's hard for Newcastle and that." But their problem's been in midfield, which is kind of surprising. And we're saying they can't. There's no balance to their squad, so they have to play with my man in the midfield, the one with the Y last name, and that the Staff brothers and that. You know the one. I'm not saying his last name. Sean. So, but Bruno's been trash, bro. And to be fair, I watched the Villa game all the way through. I watched the Man City game all the way through, and I watched the Brighton game all the way through. Oh yeah, and the other game was Liverpool, innit? So I've watched every one of their games so far. He's not been good, bro. He's not been good. They can't afford for him not to be good, bro. Because if Joe Linton ain't on it, he's kind of used for a certain thing in the game. Just the Man City game was terrible. Like he just let Foden's ran past him all game, bro. Like all game. Tonali has been kind of disappointing, bro. But I think Bruno more because I expected more of him. Like because I watched Serie A, it's easy for everyone to go. Tonali's a baller. And he's playing for AC Milan and that. And I'm like, he's good, but don't let the FIFA cards fool you, bro. Like he's really good, but don't let the way people are speaking about him is like he's the next. I'm like, not really that still. Kylo Ren in an AC Milan top, bro. So
yeah, I'll go on for you. Oh, I got two actually, but I'll pick the one. Right. Casado.
Is it for bad or good?
For bad?
He's been trashing it.
Hey, it's only 4 games. He'll probably come good. Let's face it. He'll probably come good. But yeah, what? Yeah. Yeah. Moises Casado for Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea just they lost 1-0, didn't they, to Forest?
Yeah, he's been trashing back-to-back games, bro. West Ham he was terrible against, bro. Not only did he give a penalty away, but like he made a mistake just before that with a back pass, and then the last game, bro. And I did on the Hangover show on Monday. I made a caveat straight away, and I said, "Don't get it twisted. He's probably going to ball out still. So let's not, you know what I mean? If everyone wants to get their kicks in now, just delete it in a couple of months because gotta be a player." But Wolves got a good one there. Havertz. The only thing is, in an Arsenal top, I don't expect much from him for some reason. He's a good player, but not for Arsenal. Doesn't fit in their team at all.
Where do you think he would do well though?
What team?
Yeah,
none in England.
Outside of the league, yeah.
Go back to Germany, bro.
Yeah.
Go to Dortmund. We'll appreciate you there. Yeah, he's a baller. Because when you see him in international football, it's really good, bro. Man said Kai Spice, you know, that's deep still. Hey, at least Joey ain't got the name anymore. So
might be a bit harsh, but Lavia just getting not even like getting to the bench, just sitting up in the stands.
He looked so pissed in the stands. He looked very pissed, man. Trying to think of the difference. Nah, surely we have to get these guys in, bro. Man United as a whole, bro.
Yeah,
because they've actually picked up. They beat Wolves, and they didn't deserve to. But no, let me take that back because I think I must not say that anymore. I don't think you can not actually. But I'd say you can't not deserve to. If you win a game, you win a game, innit? But because their goal didn't come from cheating, innit? But them stopping Wolves score did come from cheating, bro. Goalkeeper double clothesline, took 2 players out. They stunk in that game. Neto and what's his name again? Cunha in the midfield. And then the other Donny just ran right in there, man. And Mason Mount stunk in it. I was going to use Mason, but all of them are together. So Casemiro stunk as well. Been stinky. Who did they play in the second game? Spurs. Played good for 30 minutes. And Rashford was missing sitters. Bruno missing sitters. And then the goal was terrible. Their goalkeeper's trash. He's just good at passing the ball. I never thought I'd see the day when you only sign a goalkeeper for passing, bro. Like, normally it's make sure he's a good goalkeeper and he's good with his feet. Now it's just like, as long as he can pass. I'm like, did you not see the goal what Declan Rice scored? Everyone keeps telling me about the deflection. I don't care. Don't care, bro. He's trash, bro.
But he's not just bad. It's comically bad.
It's comically
bad. That one where he just sort of skipped back and sat on his arse.
Weird, bro.
Behind. It's just I just can't quite
You know the Martinez own goal against Spurs, bro?
Yeah.
Even though it was the own goal, he watched it roll across the line in slow motion.
Yeah.
Bro. Like, it's already gone. I can't do nothing about it. And not to mention, the one thing I think is fucked up is they keep throwing him under the bus. So after the game, they keep letting him have interviews and that. I'm like, goalkeepers never have these interviews, bro. So I don't know what's going on. 2 games back to back, they gave him an interview. I can't, bro. There's not one of their players, and I mean not one of them. Forget that I'm a Liverpool fan. Yeah. None of them look good, bro. Martinez, disappointing. Anthony, disappointing. And now, court case and that. Mason Mount, one of the games, even though I watched it, they brought up the stats. I think it was the Tottenham game, and he had 0 on everything, bro, apart from kilometers, which is you got to run in it. So, Rashford's been trash. Great goal against Arsenal, but it's been trash. Oh, you know who else is in this bad? Ramsdale, bro, stinks, bro. Stinks, bro. Yeah. He's bare camera dives. Spicy Pickford. That's what he is, man. Bare camera dives. You see Pickford save in the weekend?
Which one? Nah, I don't.
Last second of the game, 2-2, and it's a header. He saves it, and then he double saves it, innit? And the commentators losing their goddamn mind. Oh my god, Pickford and that. Watch it back. I'm like, bro, this man camera dived the shit out of this, bro. And he's cocky with it as well, innit?
That's what he does. What gets me with him is he'll collect the ball and then he'll do this whole calm down thing and then launch it up the pitch. That's not calming anyone down. Calming them down is just holding on to the ball.
This is true. This is a true statement from Brian, bro. It's genius from Pep. They use Ederson as like the centre back, bro. I'm not joking, bro. He can pass better than most of their team, bro. Cold, bro. But yeah, there's no redeeming qualities from Man U at all, bro. Like you can see that their fans are relieved when they get the points in the end. But
yeah,
what game did they win? Who did they beat? Nottingham, Sheffield, someone like that. Who's Man U won against this season? They lost to Spurs.
Beat Wolves.
They beat Wolves and who else? Because they've lost to Arsenal as well. They've only had 4 games.
They beat Wolves and they beat Forest.
Forest, it was Forest. Another game, they were bro, that's the game that was losing 2-0 in it. Early. Goal.
Yeah. Awani in behind.
Yeah, see.
That was the finish.
Yeah. Awani and Alanga have been good. Been really good. And now
he surprised me at Awani actually.
Good man.
I just thought, because obviously he was at Liverpool, didn't he? Liverpool. He went over to Germany, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and since he's come back, he's contributed with a few goals. He's done better than I thought he would. He could actually be a surprise.
I agree.
For good, to be fair.
How do you think Finger's going to get on there, Origi?
That's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. I don't think well, if I'm being honest.
It's weird with Origi, isn't it? Because at Liverpool's a little bit different, but because he doesn't give off much personality and never talks or anything like that, he just feels like, nah. Even though, because for me to go back to when he was killing it was ages ago. Like Coutinho level, them times and that, bro. So, I don't know. They can't play him as a lone striker, I know that much. That'd be silly. But if they play 2 up top, if they play Langer on the left wing and played him and Awani up top, that could be a problem still. Because one thing he can do is he can finish. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know if the work rate's going to be enough for Nottingham because he's not like the way he presses looks like he's just jogging at you, and it doesn't look like he's got any intention to actually try to take the ball off you. And we know that you play football at good levels where there's a guy in your team that he runs, so the manager sees that he's running, but he's not trying to get the ball. Bro.
Yeah. I just feel like although Forest they've had a tough start in terms of their fixtures up to now, but they've actually to get 2 wins and the 2 games they've lost, it's been tight. Yeah. I think they've played well, but I do just think they'll ultimately be relegated this season, and I think they'll just start to rack up the losses. And I just think that he won't be a player that's going to change that fate. So I think he'll go down with the ship almost. But I don't think he'll be like criticised. I don't think he'll be scrutinised or anything like that. It'll just be a bit of a kind of expected kind of thing.
I'm looking forward to seeing Ansu Fati play for Brighton.
Oh yeah.
I'm not looking forward to him playing against us though. No, I'm not. I don't want to play against him. I'm not even joking.
Where do you think they play him though?
Right wing.
Do you think they play him off the right? Because
Solly
March plays off the right, doesn't he? And he's effective for that.
Okay, let's talk about Solly Marshall, bro. And one thing I'm happy about is that I've been doing this YouTube thing because I got videos, bro, from time when I was talking about him and Trossard, bro. This man might be the most underwhelming looking footballer in terms of like nothing about him says he's a footballer. Like if you see this geezer walk past you in the shopping center, I wouldn't stop and go, "That's Solly Marsh." No, I wouldn't. I'd be like, "Where's you got the direct? You know where the toilet is, mate?" And I'll just walk off, bro. I wouldn't. He's a bro. He's a baller, bro, and his finishing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nah, man, it's the name, bro. It's the name. The name just sounds meh.
I mean, how old is he?
27, 26?
Yeah. I wonder what his best season was in terms of numbers.
I'll tell you, man. I've got the think of this.
Have a look.
No, I think if I'm correct, last season was his best season. Yeah. He got quite a lot of goals last season. He scored a couple of hat tricks, didn't he? Let's go.
The chat is saying it's 29. So
it's 29. Oh yeah, last season.
Where was he prior? Was he at Bournemouth before? Can't remember.
He's been at Brighton for a while, so
has he?
Yeah, been there since 2017, 18, I think, before that.
He's just one of them. He's just one of them guys, isn't he? He's just one of them guys that you would never think about if you're thinking about good players in the league. And even when you come up to play against Brighton, you're just like, oh yeah, they've got other threats. But he is a guy that can,
last season was
play well, work hard, and get goals.
He's got that issue, man, because he would have gotten better back in the day. Everything's about output now, isn't it? So his output doesn't match the way we see him play football. This is where the eye test works, bro. We've all watched him and go, he's a baller, innit? His last season was his best season with 7 goals. I swear to you, bro. This even surprised me, bro. His Premier League record is, I'm you guessing it. He's got 179 games. What do you think GA is, bro? Goals and assists.
179.
179 games.
He's probably on 20 something goals. High 20s, 27 goals.
How many assists?
18, 19.
14 goals, 17 assists, bro.
Oh, really? So it's not even that good. And do you know what?
Bear in mind, I just told you that he got 7 goals last season.
Yeah, but he gets braces, doesn't he? That's the thing. In a few games, he's scored a couple, and he makes you stand up and look at him again. But then, obviously, you forget about him, and he's obviously not getting goals. But it's just, I don't know.
Those kind of people are important.
When I think about the games I've seen, he's always played well.
Always, bro.
I always think I'm thinking he scores a lot more than he does. Clearly.
Yeah. You know what? Okay. I'm going to do this real quick here because there's a thing here that I used to get these two players mixed up before. Let me see what this guy's stats is. Yep, thought so. I used to get Solly Marsh and Pascal Gross mixed up, innit? They just seem like the same person, innit? I don't know why. They just seem like, I'm
not quite sure how.
Now you know because you know when Brighton wasn't as good, like Chris Hughton times and that. The Trossard, Pascal Gross, and Solly Marsh are just names that if you said to me, "Do you even know any Brighton players?" Yeah, I'll reel them off straight away, bro. They're the ones I know, and Lewis Dunk, innit? So when I'm thinking of goals, that's why I just thought Solly Marsh is going to be better. Because when I checked Pascal Gross, he scored more goals and assists, bro.
Yeah.
And he played that right back last season.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he
did. Yeah. But then he always stood out. Pascal Gross is one of them players that plays in the midfield, right? And he scored. Didn't he score against United?
Yep.
Scored against United on a few occasions.
He normally scores for Rockets, man. Like
yeah. But he was. Whenever I thought of Brighton before they sort of had a good season last time out and season prior, I think he was. I don't quote me on this, but he was. When I think back to Brighton of 3 years ago before they got really good, I always thought he was like the standout player there. You know.
Yeah, for me it was always him and Trossard, bro. Always.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking at the time, I didn't know where Trossard was from, and his name just didn't sound like he was. Yeah, I mean, sounded like somewhere else. But I guess it proves one thing, bro, that maybe the way that we look at players who play for lower clubs and that, especially in terms of stats. I mean, we're not trying to judge him based on stats anyway, but they obviously require. This sounds dumb. I don't mean this in it that they require less goals and assists, but they always do get less goals and assists, like as a team. So those numbers look terrible. They do for 179 games. But when you think of No, but that's enough to keep you in the league, isn't it? Because on the other side of that is De Bruyne and Haaland is completely on the other side, and they've only been good under Graham Potter and then De Zerbi. Before that, Chris Hughton and that, they were towards the bottom of the table. So we should know this from growing up. We always used to have teams like we had like Bolton with Kevin Davies and Nolan and all them players and that, and Kevin Phillips wherever he was, because he was just a gunman everywhere. But 10 goals in them keeps you afloat, bro. That's the difference. If your striker scores 4 goals, you probably get relegated. If he scores 10, you might be safe. That's usually what it is. And then that's how I know that. I think I asked you this question. Then do you think the quality of strikers have gone down or it's got better? Because I think back to when I was a kid, bro, Kevin Phillips and that, these men were getting 20 goals a season and still in like Sunderland and that.
Yeah. Kevin Davies, he was Bolton, was he?
Kevin Davies was Bolton. Kevin Phillips was Sunderland, Blues. He plays for everyone. I think he played for Sunderland, Blues, Villa, and he played for West Brom as well. You know the money they got no loyalty in that, like Ben Foster just played for anyone, or Ridgewell. Ridgewell had the big fucking Villa tattoo on his leg the whole time and that, bro. Just played for all of the Midlands teams and that.
Yeah, you had Carlton Cole, West Ham, Cameron Jerome. Yeah. You just had these Kenwyn Jones.
Kenwyn Jones and that.
Michu's that guy that had the one season.
Was it 22 Premier goals that season? Wingy.
Yeah. Peter Onawengi.
Remember Bapatimi Gomez, Swansea?
Yeah.
Used to do the little gay cat celebration.
Used to do the
yeah, shit, man. Yeah. Did that until he passed out, man. I thought he was dead one time on the pitch, bro. They had like a heart attack or something, man. You remember that? Gone, bro, cardiac arrest. Yeah, man, all these teams, bro. I used to like Finger, man. I used to like Tungai for Blackburn and then Morton Gans Pedersen. Bare free kicks.
Yeah, Tungai, yeah. Who's the guy that played for Middlesbrough? I always think it's Tungai, but I don't think it is.
There's Ravanelli. There's obviously Bolo Zenden, who played for us. Then there's Juninho from back in the day. He was a baller, bro, the Brazilian one. Played in midfield for Middlesbrough, scored bare free kicks as well. Andy Johnson scored 25 league goals for Palace and got relegated. Remember Andy Johnson?
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is
Andy Johnson played for Blues as well. Which is the one who don't matter. Lee Hughes, isn't it? He's the one who ran someone over and drove off.
Yeah. Shouldn't laugh about it, really. It was a while ago now. Oh.
I'm trying to think of, the young guns for Man. I'm trying to think of Man City's young guns. Yeah, there's Cole Palmer. One of them looks like
he's at Chelsea now, isn't he?
Yeah. He's at Chelsea. But one of them looks like Fingy Johnson, bro. I'm being serious. It looks like Pedo Johnson, isn't it? Yeah. So one, I swear to you, bro, one of the Man City players, bro, is a regen, bro. I don't know what's happened. I swear, bro. This is my brain. My brain works in mysterious ways, bro. I don't know why this comes to my head sometimes, but I looked at a player. Let me see. He's on this somewhere. It's Sergio. Okay, that's what it is, man. Just look at Sergio Gomez for Man City.
Oh, wait, ain't he the left back?
Yeah, look at Sergio Gomez and then look at Andy, and then look at Johnson. I swear to God, bro.
I'm gonna have to get images side by side to see this.
Yeah, Johnson might have got himself a Spanish name and come back, bro. I swear. Yeah.
Oh man.
And then you had Forsell, who played for Blues and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Mikael Forsell. Do you remember Thingy for Spurs? Yidi Yarashik, and he played for Blues as well. And
Spurs. I mean, even Spurs when they brought Defoe back,
Defoe baller.
Yeah.
Remember? Roman Pavlyuchenko. I was going to say that because he scored a rocket to keep. I was at the Blues versus Fulham. He scored a rocket, man, and I remember that because I think it was was it Hangeland? Hangeland played for Fulham, innit?
Yeah.
And who
else? And Clint Dempsey.
I basically in that game, I think they won 2-0 against Blues, and I remember this, bro. I was shouting. I think it's Hangeland or Hoof, and I'm shouting at him. I'm behind the goal, and I'm shouting at him, mark him, bro. I'm like, yo, mark him. And it's like, oh, shut up, carry on. Bruv, he made the run, finished it, bruv. And I swear, all he done, he turned to the crowd and just looked at me, bro. I'm like, you prick, bruv. Absolute prick, bruv. I told you, bro. Trying to ignore me and that, bro. I'm like, shit, man. But yeah, man, we have to do a video on like the old players and that, man. Because I used to have there's so many ballers when we was kids, man. Playing for like dead teams, man. Obviously, Leeds had a bad boy team, Champions League, Viduka and that, Q, Bowyer. Shit, man. Fun times, man.
Yeah.
Oh, he said, do you mean Emerson at Middlesbrough?
Yeah, could have been. I just got it in the back of my mind. I just can't quite see it clearly. I'm gonna have to have a look now. I'll let you guys know who I'm.
Who's the one to play for Everton? Radzicki. Play for Everton, isn't it?
Radzicki. I don't know Everton.
No, I'm thinking of Svingy and Steve Malbronk.
Steve Malbronk, yeah.
Steve Malbronk.
Radzicki played for Arsenal. Thomas Radzicki.
No, not Thomas Radzicki. Radzicki, I think he's like Australian or something.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he may have been playing for because even they had ballers, bro. Everton. After that Cahill up front, that the skinhead dude who looks like he should be shit, bro. What's his name? You got Carl. What was it, Carsley? And then there's the other one, Grav something, bro. But he was a baller, man. I remember he finishes off in one of the derbies, bro.
Wait, talking about strikers, right? I messaged you the other day, right, when I was watching the game.
Yeah, sticking
with it. Beto for hey, all game. This guy was causing problems.
But, bro, they couldn't deal with him at all, man.
Is that his level though? Because I don't know about this guy. It was
Udinese. Yeah, or that Udinese
doesn't have a cap, does he? I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
But he's one of them players that always looks to me that he can be better. He can be better. He can be at a better team. And he looks older than he is as well because he looks like he's about 29. He's 25, isn't it?
He does, yeah.
So
that's true.
there it is, Thomas Gravison. That's what I was on about.
Thomas Gravison.
Yeah, I remember him scoring a goal in the derby against us, man. They used to piss me off as a kid, man, I swear. Like, you skewed on it thinking of being a kid because sometimes it feels like the certain teams or players used to get one up on you. But when you go check the stats, you're like, oh, it's just the one goal he scored against us. But for some reason, he scarred me that much that the stuff that wind me up to this day, man. I remember we lost to Gerrard scored own goal in this game. I think we lost to Chelsea in the League Cup final or the FA Cup final. And I think Gerrard scored an own goal or did Drogba score. And then Andy Carroll scored a goal, bro. He headed it over the line and Peter Cech saved it behind the line, bro. And we didn't get given the goal in extra time. And to this day, it bothers me, bro. I don't know what bothers me. It bothers me so much, man. But hey, man. The fun of the game,
I hated the Drogba era, man. Just coming up against Chelsea with Drogba. Yeah.
So good, isn't it?
Yeah. So
talk about striker had everything to his game. He was missing nothing, bro.
Got Darren Bent. I mean, he was rocking around.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh man, this is I've got PTSD now. We're talking about times where Liverpool weren't that great, and I used to fear all these men. I used to fear all these guys.
Bro, that thingy, Roy Hodgson era and that, bro, that I swear to God, that beach ball incident will never leave me, bro. It pissed me off, bro. Darren Bent's the one who scored as well, and if it didn't hit the beach ball, it wouldn't have went in. And then like you're getting mad, you losing my mind, and then all of a sudden, every Liverpool fan's like, nah, we need to revisit that, man. Something has to be done. Get home, match of the day. They show where the beach ball come from. The ball was a Liverpool ball. Did you ever see that video? And it starts off on the pitch. One geezer just volleyballs onto the pitch. I was so glad that when I watched it, I was on my own because I felt dumb, bro. I was like, oh shit, man. They were dark days, man. Dark days, bro.
Because Reina properly tracked the fucking beach ball as well.
Yeah. Reina used to have like mad, like he was so good, but he just used to have crazy moments, bro. I remember like I think we drew 2-2 with City, but he just ran out.
Aguero finished round it.
Yeah. From a weird angle, so to big up Aguero for scoring that, but he just ran out the goal, bro. Liverpool's always had issues, man.
His kicking was cold though.
His kicking was cold, man.
I'm sure it was done before him, but it was always the one that stood out to me. Was sort of hit across the ball, pick out of the man. Yeah,
I think that's why we love Alisson so much. Not only is the best goalkeeper in the world, but we've had some problems with goalkeepers, bro. Even the ones because I've always tried to support our team no matter what. So I would be the guy at school that I'll be bigging up my goalkeeper, even though I know he's shit, bro. But I can't let you. But, and some of them had good moments. Like don't get me for this. I don't think Mignolet was particularly terrible at the beginning. He's actually a great shot stopper and that. But then,
didn't he save a pen on his debut or something? Right?
Yeah. He's a great shot stopper, bro.
He had a good start, yeah.
But then eventually, like, there's loads of goalkeepers around. I used to like Cudicini for Chelsea. I used to love him, man. You thought he was cold, bro. But yeah, man, it's just moments for goalkeepers. And then you grow up and you realize it's all basics for goalkeepers. It's not the camera dive shot stops and that. That's not what you get pumped at you every flipping 10 seconds in a game, bro. It's them ones, and now Manu's gonna have to deal with that.
I feel like I agree. We've gone through a period of having terrible keepers before Alisson come along. Shot stopping was never really an issue. It was more like commanding the area from like set pieces and stuff. I remember being terrified when we would concede a corner, knowing that our goalkeeper would just kind of come out, flap at it, and now we get one, and you think, well, you back the guys to sort of head it away, but Alisson will just come out and just catch it if he needs to, or just mop up and kind of suppose take it for granted. Not for granted, but it's the sort of things you don't focus on in the game, is it? But because it's just dealt with.
Dudek, literally, bro. I know no one wants to admit this because we're Liverpool fans, isn't it? But if we didn't win the Champions League, bro, this Dudek will just make so many mistakes, bro. And I'm talking about, and not to mention, he made the first mistake he ever made was against Forlan in the derby against Man U, and he let it go through his legs.
Yeah,
bro. Like, I see him now, and when his FIFA card and that pops up, I'm like, you kids just don't know, bro. He's only got this card because Champions League, bro. Yeah. That was his best performance, bro.
It actually was. Yeah.
That's how I feel about Onana, bro. Like I said, when I did the Man City watch along for the final, I was like, I said in the watch along, for all of you like that don't watch this guy week in, week out, this is the best game I've ever seen him have, bro. And it was, again, most of it was like through balls and passes and that, bro. He's trash, bro.
Yeah.
He's trash. And they brought up a stat on the weekend saying that, I don't know where people get these stats from, by the way, but it's funny for jokes, isn't it? They're like, it's the most time they've ever seen a goalkeeper tell the team to calm down, and they counted this 27 times.
So, I mean, who the hell is counting
I don't know. The same person who told us that Szoboszlai looked at the cameras and broke the record, bro. So they said no players ever looked at the camera that much. Who's watching?
I've no idea.
I must let people know in it.
It's such pointless information.
Bro, if you're not getting paid for that job, you're a sucker, bro. You're a weirdo, bro. Like, the only way man can get me to do that is like, pay attention to Szoboszlai all game for us, man. How much you paying me? Because if you think I'm just going to be watching where he's looking all game, like I have all the camera angles in the stadium. How about use them camera angles and fix VAR? How about that? Hey, it's been fun anyway, man. Coming up on 2 hours, so big up to everyone in the chat. Everyone who sticked around and that. Yeah, man, hope everyone's well. I had one question started, didn't I? Oh, no, I didn't. It's all gone. Yeah, man. Love for the love, guys, man. It's been nice, bro. I can't big up for that still, man. Yeah, I mean, Hangover Extra and that weren't a planned show. But I don't mind dropping these in the future. We've got topics to talk about. See, I'm all right dropping these as long as there's actually something to talk about, bro. You know what I mean? You'll see that, you know, the bum content creators, the transfer window's closed now. They've all gone to sleep, innit? So they've all realised, let me just pretend that I've always backed all the midfielders that we brought. Just have fun, innit? That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
I actually want all the content creators to do well in it, but I have to say, man, some of you are just trash, bro. It's not my fault. It's your mum's. Anyway, it's been emotional, man. Big up Cav. Big up the chat. Yeah, man. You already know the vibes, man. Just one of those, man. You don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here, man. Peace.